section of the exhibit, which looks at political agency and power. And so in this section, what we really wanted to convey was how women have used quilts and quilting to express political opinions, to raise funds for causes that they care about, and really to make their voices heard. And that's something that's been ongoing. It's not a new thing in quilting. So we have a really wide range of quilts in this section, and I think it's a really, really kind of neat thing about quilts and quilting. I mean, women have been using quilts to affect political change since before they had the right to vote. So it's I think a really important idea to get across to our visitors. So this quilt here, this is a Red Cross fundraising quilt. This is a type of quilt that you'll see with some frequency, especially in terms of like earlier examples of quilts that relate to this idea. And so the idea with this one is that they would take the different blocks and you would pay, what was it for this one? I think it was 50 cents to get your signature put on a block. Then when they were ready to put the quilt together, they would then auction it off, and whatever proceeds they raised from the signatures and then the final auction would be donated to whatever cause it was for, in this case, the Red Cross. And this was during World War I, so they were raising funds for the Red Cross during World War I. So one thing that they did with this particular quilt is they took one of the blocks and mailed it off to Washington, D.C. So this was made by women in Martell, Nebraska. And so they took one of the blocks, mailed it to Washington, D.C. To see if they could get some signatures of prominent politicians. And they got the signatures of President Woodrow Wilson, President Theodore Roosevelt, Secretary of War Newton Baker Jr. I keep calling him Newton Bacon. General John Pershing, and General John Pershing. But anyway, people still do this. This is like a really common technique for raising funds with a quilt. You send the block off to a celebrity and see if they can, if you'll get a signature back. You never know. Sometimes they just throw it in the trash and you never get it back, but sometimes you do. Diane Bremen, who worked on the Not Just a Dream quilt up at the front, was telling us that she's worked on several quilts like this, and one time she went out to her mailbox and there was a quilt block with Tom Selleck's signature on it, and she was like, do I tell them I got it back or do I keep it? So,